For ages, we've seen him as the ultimate ruler. Zeus, king of the gods, lord of the sky, a figure of absolute power, effortlessly commanding thunder and lightning, love and, well, let's just say many affairs. He's a god among gods, portrayed in dazzling cinematic glory. But what if the story we've been told, the image burned into our minds by Hollywood's grandest spectacles, is only a glimpse of a much larger, far more complex truth? What if the reality of being Zeus was shrouded in mysteries deeper than the darkest depths of Tartarus? Legends whisper of untold chapters in Zeus's reign, of trials and tribulations that defy our modern understanding. Whispers of a different kind of power, not of brute force or divine charm, but something else. Something hidden beneath the thunder and lightning, something that might even challenge the very definition of what it means to be a god. Some say that his life was full of challenges, which are not known to men until today. What secrets lie buried beneath the myths of Zeus? What was the true nature of his divine existence? To be born Zeus, king of the gods, lord of the sky, was not a birth into carefree bliss. It was a birth into responsibility, a coronation before consciousness. Imagine a baby, not swaddled in soft linen, but draped in the heavy mantle of cosmic order. This was Zeus' inheritance. His very first cry echoed not just through the caves of Mount Dicte, where he was hidden from his father Cronus, but through the very fabric of the cosmos, a subtle tremor acknowledging the arrival of the new sovereign. Zeus' responsibilities were not merely ceremonial. He was not just a figurehead, a divine mascot. He was the linchpin holding together the delicate balance of the universe. Imagine a complex clockwork mechanism, each gear representing a different aspect of existence, the tides, the seasons, the very lives of mortals and gods alike. Zeus was tasked with ensuring every gear turned smoothly, that no cog slipped, that the grand clock of existence kept ticking. This involved a myriad of duties. He was the arbiter of disputes among the gods, a notoriously quarrelsome bunch. Imagine mediating a family feud where the family members wield lightning bolts and command the oceans. Every disagreement, every petty squabble, landed on Zeus' shoulders. He had to be a judge, a diplomat, a therapist, all rolled into one immortal being. Furthermore, maintaining order in the mortal realm was a constant struggle. Humans, with their free will and propensity for chaos, were a constant source of both wonder and frustration. They waged wars, built empires, and defied the very gods who had created them. Zeus had to walk a tightrope, intervening when necessary to prevent utter annihilation, but also allowing them the freedom to shape their own destinies. This delicate dance was often fraught with peril, each step potentially leading to unforeseen consequences. The consequences of Zeus' decisions were far-reaching and impactful. A single thunderbolt hurled in anger could devastate entire cities. A whispered word of encouragement could inspire a hero to greatness. Every action, every pronouncement, rippled through the world, affecting the lives of countless beings. This weight of consequence was a constant burden, a pressure that never truly abated. He could not afford a simple mistake. A single error could lead to chaos. Consider the Trojan War, a conflict born from a seemingly trivial slight. Zeus, bound by his own pronouncements and the machinations of other gods, was forced to stand by as heroes fell and cities burned. The cries of the dying, the lamentations of the bereaved, echoed in his ears, a constant reminder of the devastating power he wielded, and the limitations placed upon him. Even as king, even as the most powerful being in existence, Zeus was often trapped, a prisoner of his own position. It is a common misconception that Zeus was a purely hedonistic ruler, indulging in endless feasts and romantic escapades. While these aspects were certainly part of his story, they were often a desperate attempt to escape the crushing weight of his responsibilities. They were fleeting moments of respite in a life defined by duty and obligation. The truth is, being Zeus was a lonely existence. He was surrounded by powerful beings, but few truly understood the burden he carried. He was the ultimate authority, but also the ultimate servant, bound to the very order he was tasked to uphold. An interesting fact that encapsulates the weight of Zeus' role is that the ancient Greeks believed the sky itself was a solid dome, held up by Atlas. Zeus, as lord of the sky, inherited this burden metaphorically. He carried the weight of the heavens, not physically, but through the immense responsibility of maintaining cosmic order. This burden, invisible yet ever present, defined his reign and shaped his very being. Being the king of the gods was not just about managing the cosmos, it was about managing a family. And not just any family, a dysfunctional, immortal family rife with rivalries, betrayals, and enough drama to fill countless tragedies. This was Zeus's constant backdrop, a chaotic symphony of familial discord that shaped his reign and profoundly impacted his life. Let us begin with his parents. Zeus's father, Cronus, was a titan, a powerful but paranoid ruler who devoured his own children, fearing a prophecy that one of them would overthrow him. Zeus, saved by his mother Rhea cunning, was hidden away on the island of Crete. This formative experience, the constant threat of being consumed, instilled in him a deep-seated distrust and a fierce determination to never be controlled. This act of violence by his father became the driving force behind his ambition and shaped his future reign. The eventual overthrow of Cronus, a brutal and protracted war known as the Titanomachy, was not just a battle for power, it was a son's rebellion against a tyrannical father. Zeus, alongside his siblings Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon, waged war against the Titans, a conflict that shook the very foundations of the universe. This victory, while securing his place as king, also cemented the complex dynamics within his siblinghood. His siblings, while allies in the war against Cronus, were also constant sources of conflict. Poseidon, god of the sea, was proud and volatile, often clashing with Zeus over territory and authority. Hades, ruler of the underworld, was brooding and secretive, a constant reminder of the darker aspects of existence. Hera, his wife and sister, was fiercely jealous and vengeful, a force to be reckoned with. The relationship with Hera is perhaps the most complex and tumultuous. She was not only his wife but also his sister, a dynamic that added another layer of complexity to their already fraught relationship. Hera's constant jealousy, fueled by Zeus's numerous infidelities, led to countless acts of vengeance against his lovers and their offspring. These acts of wrath, while often brutal, were also a testament to Hera's own power and her refusal to be a mere bystander in Zeus's life. They were a constant source of tension and instability within the Olympian court. Zeus' numerous affairs, a recurring theme in his mythology, were not simply acts of lust, they were often strategic moves, forging alliances and producing demigod heroes who would further solidify his power. However, these actions also had profound consequences, creating a vast network of offspring, both divine and mortal, who often became entangled in conflicts of their own. Consider Hercules, perhaps Zeus's most famous son. His life was a constant struggle, marked by trials and tribulations orchestrated by Hera's relentless hatred. These trials, while showcasing Heracles' incredible strength and resilience, also highlight the devastating impact of the family drama that permeated Zeus's life. The repercussions of his actions rippled through generations, affecting not just the gods but also the mortal world. Athena, born from Zeus's head after he swallowed her mother Metis, was a different case. She was the goddess of wisdom and strategic warfare, a powerful and respected figure within the Olympian pantheon. Her unique birth, bypassing the traditional motherly role, symbolizes her connection to Zeus's intellect and authority. The rivalries, betrayals, and conflicts within Zeus's family were not just personal dramas, they had significant political implications. They influenced the course of wars, shaped the destinies of mortals, and constantly challenged Zeus's authority as king. He was perpetually caught between maintaining order within his unruly family and maintaining order in the wider world. The constant family drama was a significant drain on Zeus's time and energy. He was constantly mediating disputes, placating angry gods, and dealing with the fallout from his own actions. This constant state of familial turmoil was a heavy burden, adding to the already immense weight of his responsibilities as king. In essence, Zeus's family was both his greatest strength and his greatest weakness. They were a source of both power and constant turmoil, a reflection of the complex and often contradictory nature of his own being. They were a constant reminder that even gods are not immune to the complexities and dramas of family life. Zeus, king of the gods, was not only known for his thunderbolts and his reign over Olympus but also for his numerous amorous pursuits. This aspect of his mythology, his constant infidelity, is a complex and often troubling element of his character. It's a tapestry woven with passion, strategy, and devastating consequences, a constant source of tension within the Olympian pantheon and a significant factor in shaping his reputation. Zeus's affairs were not simply impulsive acts of lust. They were often intertwined with political motives, strategic alliances, and the creation of heroes who would further solidify his power and influence in the mortal realm. These liaisons spanned a wide range of beings, from goddesses and nymphs to mortal women, each encounter leaving its own unique mark on the world. Let us consider some prominent examples. Leda, Queen of Sparta, was seduced by Zeus in the guise of a swan. This union resulted in the birth of Helen, whose abduction would ultimately trigger the devastating Trojan War. This single affair highlights the far-reaching consequences of Zeus's actions, demonstrating how his personal desires could ignite conflicts that reshaped the course of history. Europa, a Phoenician princess, was abducted by Zeus in the form of a magnificent white bull. He carried her across the sea to Crete, where she bore him several sons, including Minos, who would become the legendary king of Crete. This abduction not only established a powerful lineage but also further cemented Zeus's connection to the island where he himself was raised. Danae, a princess imprisoned by her father, was visited by Zeus in a shower of gold. This divine encounter resulted in the birth of Perseus, the hero who would slay Medusa. This myth emphasizes Zeus's ability to transcend physical barriers and highlights his role as a progenitor of heroes. These are but a few examples of Zeus's countless affairs. Each story has its own nuances and complexities, but they share a common thread: the transgression of established boundaries and the creation of offspring who would often face trials and tribulations due to their divine parentage. The constant thread connecting these stories is the figure of Hera, Zeus's wife and sister. Hera's jealousy and anger were legendary, a force of nature as powerful as any storm Zeus could conjure. She was not a passive victim, she was a formidable goddess in her own right, and she did not take her husband's infidelities lightly. Hera's wrath was often directed not at Zeus himself, but at his lovers and their offspring. She pursued them relentlessly, inflicting punishments and orchestrating hardships that tested their strength and resilience. Heracles, as mentioned previously, faced a lifetime of trials due to Hera's relentless hatred. Io, a priestess of Hera herself who was seduced by Zeus, was transformed into a cow and tormented by a gadfly. These examples illustrate the devastating consequences of incurring Hera's wrath, a consequence of Zeus's own actions. Zeus, while capable of wielding thunderbolts and commanding the heavens, often seemed powerless to control his own desires or to mitigate the consequences of his actions. He would make promises to Hera, only to break them repeatedly. He would attempt to appease her with gifts and apologies, but her jealousy was a fire that could not be easily extinguished. The impact of Zeus's infidelity on his relationships and reputation was profound. It created a constant state of tension and distrust within the Olympian pantheon. It undermined his authority as king, as his own behavior often contradicted the principles of order and justice he was supposed to uphold. It also painted him as a flawed and often unsympathetic figure, a powerful being driven by his own desires, regardless of the consequences. His infidelity also had a lasting impact on his relationships with his children. The constant conflict between Hera and his illegitimate offspring created a sense of division and animosity within his family. It placed his children in precarious positions, often caught between the wrath of Hera and the limited protection of their father. In essence, Zeus's numerous affairs were not just romantic interludes, they were a significant factor in shaping his reign and defining his legacy. They were a source of constant conflict, a testament to his own flawed nature, and a reminder that even the king of the gods was not immune to the complexities and consequences of love and infidelity. Immortality, a gift craved by many mortals, is often portrayed as an endless paradise, a life free from the constraints of time and death. However, for Zeus, king of the gods, immortality was not a perpetual vacation, it was a burden, a constant reminder of the fleeting nature of everything around him. This chapter explores the unique challenges of living forever, the weight of witnessing the passage of time, and the profound impact it had on Zeus' perspective and motivations. One of the most significant burdens of immortality is the constant witnessing of death and change. While Zeus himself remained untouched by the ravages of time, he was forced to watch as generations of mortals lived, loved, and died. He saw empires rise and fall, civilizations flourish and crumble, and the world transform around him. This constant cycle of birth and death, of growth and decay, was a poignant reminder of the ephemeral nature of mortal existence, a stark contrast to his own unchanging state. Imagine watching your closest friends, your most beloved companions, wither and fade away, knowing that you will remain unchanged, a silent observer of their passing. This was Zeus's constant reality. He witnessed the deaths of countless heroes, the passing of beloved mortals, and the gradual erosion of the world he knew. This constant exposure to mortality instilled in him a profound sense of melancholy, a quiet understanding of the impermanence of all things. This burden was further amplified by the changing world around him. While Zeus remained constant, the world was in constant flux. New ideas emerged, new technologies developed, and the very fabric of society shifted and evolved. This constant change could be disorienting, even for a god. Imagine waking up every century to a world that is fundamentally different from the one you knew, a world where the customs, beliefs, and even the language have changed. The potential for boredom and loneliness is another significant challenge of immortality. When time stretches endlessly before you, the novelty of experience can begin to fade. The thrill of new discoveries, the excitement of new encounters, can lose their luster when repeated endlessly throughout eternity. Imagine living for millennia, having experienced every possible sensation, witnessed every conceivable event. The world, once full of wonder and mystery, can begin to feel predictable, even monotonous. This potential for boredom is a significant challenge for immortal beings, a constant struggle to find meaning and purpose in an endless existence. Furthermore, immortality can lead to a profound sense of loneliness. While Zeus was surrounded by other gods and countless mortals, he was ultimately alone in his experience of time. No one could truly understand the weight of his endless existence, the burden of witnessing the passage of centuries. This isolation, this inability to truly share his experience with others, contributed to a deep sense of loneliness. The impact of immortality on Zeus's perspective and motivations was profound. It instilled in him a deep appreciation for the fleeting beauty of mortal life. He understood the preciousness of each moment, the significance of each human connection, in a way that mortals could not. This understanding often influenced his interactions with mortals, leading him to intervene in their lives, to offer guidance and support, and to appreciate their brief but vibrant existence. However, immortality also had a darker side. It could lead to a sense of detachment, a feeling of being removed from the flow of time. Zeus, witnessing the rise and fall of civilizations, could become cynical, viewing mortal endeavors as ultimately futile. This detachment could manifest as indifference or even cruelty, as he became less invested in the lives of those he knew would eventually fade away. In essence, immortality was a double-edged sword for Zeus. It granted him immense power and an unparalleled perspective, but it also burdened him with the weight of time, the constant witnessing of death and change, and the potential for boredom and loneliness. It shaped his perspective, influenced his motivations, and ultimately defined his reign as king of the gods.